The heck is a food forest? I'm George. This is Fat Ninja Farm. This is a food forest. This is a 7-year-old food forest. Throw that term out there a lot. I think a lot of you that watch these videos know what a food forest is. But to explain it, it's a permaculture designed food forest. To make that simple, we're mimicking the forest. Every year the forest comes in green top to bottom. No one touches it, no one plants it, no one transplants it, no one puts starts in there, no one fertilizes it, no one feeds it, but it does it every year without us. So in our backyards, we're trying to mimic that by using a variety of plants that work together in a symbiotic relationship. There can be up to 7 layers in that, from the top nut trees down to our shorter fruit trees, the herbaceous layer, perennial herbaceous layer, root crops, berry bushes, the climbing vertical layer. But those plants working together in the forest, we put them in our backyards, but with plants that work for us, filling each of those niches, as many of those 7 layers of a food forest as we can. I think what we'll do is go down now. We're May 24th today, quarantine. And we'll see how much food there is in a food forest this early in the year and see what stages some of the food is at, how much we're already walking through grazing on, and how it's designed to fruit and flower in stages throughout the year so that we always have something fruiting and flowering from now, where we just had our last frost, until through October. Let's go down and have a look. Now we're here in the food forest. You can see the side looks real thick. Some people, I've read it's been called a wall of green until we get to know the plants within it. Sometimes it can look like a wall of green. Looks a little bit wild. And then this side behind the fence is more of a traditional annual garden up top here. And down the bottom is long-term annuals. We grow corn, beans, squash, peas, stuff that's going to be stored. We don't have to pay a lot of attention to garlic, onions. So we can plant it and forget it, set it and forget it, come back and harvest it. Maybe look for bugs during the season, squish things like that, but we don't have to be in there every day. But we're more talking about the food forest side and about what a food forest is and how by planting a food forest in our yard, slowly as it matures and those canopies touch and the stuff that's designed to be in the understory matures and is giving us food throughout the year, designed to start early as possible, fruit and flower late as possible into the year, staggering our harvest and staggering in the bringing in of those beneficial insects and birds. Okay, we just walked down the stairs into the food forest. The top here is the annual garden, traditional annual garden planted with permaculture principles. Down below it is a long-term annual garden designed to slowly become a food forest, so planted in those guilds that'll slowly fill in. In the meantime, we're planting long-term annuals in there, things like garlic and onions and potatoes and storage winter squash, stuff like that that doesn't need a lot of attention. We don't do in there a lot. So we're using that area as the forest fills in to grow annuals rather than just our annual garden here. But on the back side over there is the true food forest, like the bottom of the annual garden will become. And now we'll walk from here to there, looking at some of the food we will be able to eat in the coming months and the stuff that we're sampling already so early in the year. So let's squeeze some food out of the food forest. I'd like to note it's pretty too. We got all the perennial flowers and nice smelling mints and lemon balms. That's a lemon balm. Planted to make everything look pretty as well. I didn't get that the first couple of years. Me, man, no plant flowers. A lot of those flowers are edible too, they're beautiful. But right here, still in the annual garden, We got strawberries. Let that go, not quite ripe. All organic, little dirt never hurt. I'm just saying flowers are edible. Just like this nasturtium. As we get a few steps into the garden, we got a ton more strawberries. And these are planted everywhere throughout the food forest. They're a great ground cover. So we got the pretty flowers, the edible flowers, strawberries. Over here we've got mulberries. Don't have to be more dark. Mulberries one you can eat fairly early. I'd rather be a little farther along, but it's still good. You can see blackberries. It's actually really good. Blackberries, black raspberries, Cornelian cherries, blueberries, and there's just strawberries everywhere. This is another gooseberry. The berry there. And a smaller jewel gooseberry here. Actually, this is a Hinamaku red. This is a, probably butchering that name. Hinamaki yellow. This is a jewel. That's another Cornelian cherry. And a pear. Down below it we have yellow raspberries. Oh, not quite right. And the garlic and beets and strawberries. And peas. I know it's not a perennial, but while we're here. These are yellow raspberries and a currant. Cherry red currant. Got our first currants this year, 3 of them, 4 of them. We just put that in last year. But I might have gone in this year actually. So in just a short distance, we sampled those fruits and veggies. We saw that Cornelian cherry. There's also an apple tree behind that. I'm not going to walk up there though. It's got young apples on it. This is a hazelnut. Another apple tree. Some young grapes behind that. More blackberries. Edible ground cover sochan. Lots of wild strawberries down here. Not as pretty to look at, but they sure do taste good. Not real sweet. And some June-bearing strawberries, I believe. I bet we can find a ripe one. Good enough for me. Damn. That'll be a Cornelian, that'll be a Nanking cherry. Which is that there, we'll go look at that. On the way, let's see if we can find some more berries to eat. These are black raspberry. They won't be too much longer. This is one of 3 varieties of gummy berries we have. It's a red gem. That's a nitrogen fixer. So that's fixing nitrogen for the plants around it. But also has a really beautiful smelling flower and a tasty berry. More yellow raspberries. And grapes. There's that Nanking cherry, our oldest, most mature one. The last 3 years, this has really been productive. This is something you can go around, test them. Find the softest, most ripe ones. And eat until your cheeks pop, because you planted plenty of food all around your yard. Is designed to ripen and harvest throughout the year. Okay. Josta berries, nitrogen fixing autumn olive, which is berry in the middle. More gooseberries, which is just loaded with gooseberries. I'm still stuffing my cheeks with cherries. This is an apple tree loaded with apples. That's got 4 grafts onto it, so that's 5 varieties of apple. Up there is our oldest, largest gummy berry. The first one. We have 2 other varieties now. We'll go up and sample that as well. This is a Gold Rush apple, which will be the overstory for these Nanking cherries, with wine berries and horseradish and black raspberries and Sochan. Let's not forget these Josta berries. Autumn olive is the nitrogen fixer in the middle. More wine berries. The other side of that gooseberry we just looked at. Loaded again. Great fresh eating, makes a great jelly. This is a real young sour cherry. Here's that other autumn olive. And by autumn olive, I mean gummy berry. So now we're over looking at this older gummy berry. As you see, just loaded, and I could walk around and stuff my cheeks with. Again, as we graze our way through the food forest, eating perennial fruits, nuts, and berries. So I walk through a nice rainy day like this. I'm eating food out of my food forest. It's planted in guilds to mimic nature, to mimic the forest, using rooting crops, edible ground covers, the herbaceous layer, fruit trees, nut trees, climbers like our grapes and our kiwi, berry bushes, nitrogen fixers like our autumn olive and our gumi, to our clovers and our hairy vetch and buckwheat that's in the bottom there. Flowers mixed around, all the berries and flowers designed to fruit throughout the year at different times, so we always have something fresh to eat. We just had a cherry. Those are finishing up in the next few days. I'll harvest all those. Just starting to pick the gummies. These gooseberries will be right behind that. These Josta berries shortly after. That autumn olive after that into the fall. This is that's a Viking, I believe, Ariona berry. It's not old enough yet. That'll be earlier in the spring. Silverberry in the back, that's the same thing. Okay, I'm getting wet. I'm going to end this here. I hope that's a good explanation of what I mean by a food forest. How we have all these plants that work to feed us, the plants, animal, and fungi around us, but to work in a symbiotic relationship to meet the needs of the whole. We just manage that, hold back things as we need to. As you can see, we grow a lot of annuals, but mixed in are the perennials. And in the true food forest side, the amount of food produced in a small area becomes immense. This is loaded with apples, horseradish, elderberries, sochan, Jerusalem artichokes, Ariona berry, strawberries down front, gooseberry, and on and on. Mushrooms down below. Okay, I'm hurrying because I'm getting wet. Peace, love, help one another with the necessary changes. We will have to change. Ignore it if you want. Quarantine is the least of our problems. Come on. I'm being called. Peace, love, happiness, help one another with the changes. Please like and share these videos.